What
Yo!
up? How you doing, girl?
Can you hear me well? Let me put my volume up.
Let's see, can everybody hear KG pretty well? Give me a thumbs up, give me a holler. What you guys got? Can you hear us okay? All right, looks like people can hear us. That's sweet. Okay, hair's looking popping. You got to make sure we're good. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being on the first official Accel in Motion Instagram Live. I couldn't have, picked a better person to host the interview. And obviously, your inner dopeness is the theme, because pretty much you walk into any room and you're just dope, and everybody just feels your energy and your light. I always want to let people know, first of all, kind of how we met. So as most of you know, on the call on the IG Live, I'm an entrepreneur as well. And about a year ago, I met KG and her beautiful wife Camille at like an entrepreneurial business meeting here in Houston. They were sitting behind me, and you know when you just meet someone and it's just like, boom, friends for life. Like there's energy. You don't even have to speak that much. You just know like something's happening here. We don't know what it is, but we have similar goals, and I got to learn more. So I met her about a year ago. And since then, I mean, just blown away. We'll get to it on the call, but she was, C-level executive. Left that to start her just basically hustle. When I say hustle, I mean she's got more than one. She's hustling all over this town, this country, this world. Just to give a little bit, Houston Business Journals, 40 Under 40, 2018. Most recently, 2019, this year. She's the class of 2019. Business Equality Magazine's 40 Under 40 LGBTQ leaders. So she also got Outsmart's Female Personality, not of the day, not of the week, not of the month, but of the year. She's balling. She's a host of her own podcast, actually, called Startup Masters. So you guys got to check that out. She gave a commencement speech last year. She's just all over the place. And so this is going to be the real conversation. We hope to leave people inspired, but also to just leave people feel connected, and that they're not alone on this journey of life, and that we all have ups, we all have downs. We're just here to support each other. So, KG, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me on, friend. Seriously.
Absolutely. Well, basically, we're just going to dive right in. The first question, you guys, I don't even know if you all know this, but the city of Houston has like over 5 million people. Roughly, give or take. We're number 4th largest city in the country, soon to be 3, they say, behind Chicago. And I call her KG, Kalia. You'll hear me kind of call her both. She gets a day named after her, people, a day. So October 29th every year is the Kalia Guillory Day. I got to know, how did that happen? How did you get a day named after you?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, seriously, but honestly, it was my tribe. I have surrounded myself with people who I believe in and that believe in me and the work that I'm doing. And a friend of mine made a call and made it happen, literally. And from what I understand, it's based on what you're putting the projects and how are you improving the community, right? Houston is a pluralistic community. I mean, not president, but Mayor Turner has, maybe he needs to run for president, but Mayor Turner has said on record that, Houston is in 2025 and 2026, Houston is what the rest of the world is going to look like from a diversity and inclusive standpoint. And so I guess it's just because I have created and cultivated some programs and projects for our community to inspire us to be more connected from a human to human standpoint.
Love it. So you touched on basically the project. So I have 2 questions. Did you start these projects when you were still doing your C-level grind, or did these projects kind of get started in the last year and you just hit it, or both?
No.
The projects,
yeah. So the bulk of this, and just to give a shout out and I believe in giving flowers while people are still here. So I got to give a flower to Jotina Buck, because she's the reason why that proclamation happened. So moving on to I would say a little bit of both, but I would say 70% of my projects that I'm walking into now were developed and cultivated 2.5 years ago when I was still in corporate. So I strategically, one of the things that I saw early on is when I started as a banker, in financial services, I saw people coming in droves saying, oh, I started my business. I'm going to cash out my 401k and I'm going to go through my savings account. And then 3 to 4 months later, they will be back into my office to set up direct deposit because they didn't have a business plan. They didn't have a strategy. They didn't make the sacrifices while they were still working in corporate to allow corporate to finance that dream. And they were back in my office setting up direct deposit for the other corporate job they had to go and have because they didn't plan correctly. And that was one of the things that I got early on is I'm going to have to make some real sacrifices to make this happen. And I think that's from, as a corepreneur, right? I was a corepreneur up until last April. And I've just dubbed myself corepreneur as I had one foot in corporate America and another foot in as an entrepreneur. And I just married those two together and I got corepreneur. But that was the biggest thing is.
Can you trademark that? Yeah. Just saying, that's a side conversation. Yeah.
But what can I sacrifice today so that I can set myself up with the biggest shot, with the biggest opportunity to give myself a runway to navigate entrepreneurship? Because Instagram is not the real on entrepreneurship. Like you scroll through Instagram and people are quitting their jobs and they're traveling to Maui and to the Maldives and they're doing all these things on a private jet. But what people don't share is when you're crying because you're thinking like, are people really going to like this? Are people really going to accept this? And the one thing that I didn't want to do is be stressed out about money. So I traded in my dream car. I got rid of it because I knew that was going to alleviate a large cost to me and to free up some cash flow so that I can invest in MailChimp. So I can invest in a website that I've had to rebrand 3 different times to get it right. But I need a cash flow to do those things. I don't think we, as a society, we haven't figured out how to, no one's given us a playbook on how to do that. Maybe it's a playbook we should do.
There. You what?
Maybe it's a playbook you and I should do. I don't know.
Girl, tell me about it. I know. Yeah. It'll be a very different playbook because everyone's journey and experiences are different. But at the core of it, it's all the same. When you're in corporate America and you have some ideas and side hustles and beliefs, you got to make sacrifices. And I know you mentioned you traded in your car, but I'm sure there were a heck of a lot more. I mean, than just, the car. Because not only is it the financial sacrifices, it's the mental sacrifices. It's less time with your loved one because you're doing your corporate job during the day and you're doing your side hustle at night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of friendships. I mean, family. It's, yeah.
A friend. So someone told me who's in corporate, a mentor of mine said, be ready because friendships will change. It's no doubt about it. And I'm thinking there's no way my friendship's going to change because these are my friends. And I experienced that last year. Like friendships have died off. They didn't support. They didn't understand why I can't go to happy hour because I got to run home and get ready for a proposal that I have to send before midnight. Like they just couldn't understand it.
Right. Or even like happy hour, that's just extra cash. Like, take that $20 and you can put it towards your MailChimp subscription. I mean, it's like literally like, I feel like I'm back in college. Like, whatever dollars I have, everything's allocated to something. Gas for the car. It's just, do I really need that shirt? No, actually I don't.
No.
Clothes. Your priorities change for sure. So when you were in corporate America as a banker, C-level executive, for those of you who are just joining, when you say you had plans to be an entrepreneur, what did that look like? What was when you left C-level, what was entrepreneurial life going to look like? What was the job you wanted to start, or what did you want to do?
Speaking. So one of the things that I got really privy to is when I was in a C-level position, I was a strategy manager and I would fly across the country in our territory to create and cultivate strategy for the C-suite. And I would sell them on these strategies. I would go and do a presentation. I would get the okay from them and I would present it to their team so that they can adopt it and execute it. And one day as I was taking my seat, the EVP of that region, she leaned over and said, I have no idea why we are paying motivational speakers thousands of dollars to come and fire up the troops when we have you on payroll. And I was like, you sure right, lady. Why are you? And why am I not an external consultant speaker collecting these thousands of dollars for, a couple of hours of my time? You're
totally.
Right. Totally. So in that moment, I always had the entrepreneurial bug, but I
Yeah.
think it got really clear and defined. Wait a minute, I've got all these transferable skills. If I can do it for them, I can surely do it for myself.
Isn't
And
that
that
amazing? That one question, would you say
one,
that one question she asked you was kind of one of the major pivotal moments that made you
totally,
say, isn't that crazy?
totally,
One question.
totally.
So,
I
yeah.
literally, I was in San Francisco. I was running through the airport to catch my flight, and I called Camille and I said, I'm starting up a firm. It's KOG and Company, and I'm going to be a professional speaker and consultant. And she goes, well, duh. I've been waiting on you to figure that thing out.
Totally.
And that was it. That was all she wrote. The next day, I started my planning. I went and filed for my DBA. A couple of months after that, I had my LLC. Like, I mean, it was like in motion.
And so when she asked the question to when you actually left your corporate job to pursue it full time speaking, about how long of a time span was that?
2.5 years.
Oh, okay. So everyone listening, a long ass time. Like, question. She didn't just get a question, listen to a few podcasts for inspiration, read a book, and quit her corporate job. Okay. That's awesome. So, you know, I never have anyone, like, I don't want anyone to ever be nervous about, you know, pursuing a side hustle or just seeing what's out there. But it takes way longer to properly, effectively plan for your exit strategy to be as successful as possible when you hit that ground. It takes sometimes months, years. So if you guys listening, if you have an idea now, you know, if you don't quit your corporate job for 3 to 5 years, that's okay, because everyone's journey is different. It's about setting yourself up with your tribe as soon as possible and try to make as many, I guess, mistakes as you can while you still got that paycheck coming in.
That's the deal, man. Like, make as many mistakes as you can, and don't be hard up for a buck while you still have your stable income coming in. And you know, the other piece of this is getting your loved one, your significant other, on board with your idea, because I'm very clear that I'm able to navigate and make the moves that I'm making because I've got 100% support and commitment from my wife.
100%.
And that necessarily didn't happen overnight, because virtually what happens is when you leave, then, I mean, you don't know what your revenue is going to look like. You don't know what your projections are going to be. When I was in corporate, I knew what my raise was going to be. I knew about what my bonus would be. So to go from relatively a 2-income household to one and a possible, you know, like, what you betting on?
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so you touch on speaking. So what I want everyone to kind of, you know, learn about is like inclusivity, diversity, being authentic. Those are 3 buzzwords that you mention a lot. So just so you guys know, you got to follow KG, Kalia Guillory, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'll put all the handles in here, but she's a joy to follow. But that's kind of the theme of what she talks about. So those to me, well, not to me, but those are big popular words right now: inclusion, diversity, authenticity. But to be honest, they mean something different to everyone. And, you know, for people listening, they might, you know, can you just start off by what do you mean when you talk about those words? What do they mean?
Totally. Simply put, diversity is just simply meaning that you got an invitation to the meeting, to the party. You just got an invitation, right? Because you got an invite. Inclusion means that while you were at the party, someone asked you to dance. While you were at the meeting, someone asked you to come and sit at the table, not in the corner, but you had a seat at the actual table. And equity means that you got to vote. You can go to the DJ at the party and say, hey, I want to hear this song. You're in this meeting, you can say, hey, I don't think this marketing ad is going to be embraced and received well by this sector of socioeconomic folks or this race, because it could come off as offensive. And that's really the easiest way I can break it down is I think people get caught up into color and income, but it's beyond that. It's really just that simple.
So when the first thing you said is people being invited to the meeting or invited to the table. And a lot of times, especially as, you know, females or people of color or just, you know, whatever societal, you know, norm is not, you're not invited. So, and you've not been invited to everything. So what have you done, or what do you suggest people do when they're not invited, but they want to be at that table?
My biggest suggestion, especially for women, people of color, is raise your hand. Like, it really truly is that simple. Like, raise your hand, volunteer, let it be known. Because oftentimes when I was mentoring folks in corporate, it was, oh, well, I'm afraid to go for this. I'm afraid, I've got an idea for this project, but I'm afraid to let them know because I'm scared they're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, if you already are going into that with that type of negative mindset, then how do you expect someone else to believe in what you're looking to curate?
Right.
And the other piece specifically is, what I noticed is that most of those folks, my mentees that were telling me that, they were volunteering themselves for the wrong things. What I mean by that is they were volunteering to go pick up the cake for the birthday party that will happen that day. They were volunteering to go pick up the food for the meeting that they would be at. But why not, instead of using that time to do busy work, go sit in your manager's, your leader's office and say, this is 2019. Here's what I would like to accomplish. I would like to get to the next rung on the ladder. Here's where I see myself doing that. Here are my transferable skills. Here's my brag book to prove that I'm ready for this. What projects are you working on that I can volunteer on and be of service to you?
I love it.
That's it. That's what I did. And it happened time after time after time, almost like it was foolproof. Like, at first time I was like, ooh, that was too easy. And then it just kept happening. And then it was like, okay, well, this clearly must work.
And so here's the bottom line. If you didn't raise your hand, or you didn't, come in with the brag book, and like, there's nothing wrong with bragging. There's a proper way to do it.
Proper way to do it.
Confident in yourself. If you didn't come with that brag book and come and invite yourself or ask to be part of the team, would they have asked you every single time to be part of those projects?
No, absolutely not. And I do believe that the other piece of this is, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it, or you can marry the two strategies that you shared. The second one would be, have a mentor and a sponsor. And I define a mentor as someone who talks with you. Your sponsor is someone who talks about you when you're not in the room. So because I've had this open dialogue with my sponsor, they were able, when I wasn't in the room, or I wasn't even privy to some of the conversations that were going on, they could say, hey, wait a minute, Kalia has this skill set. I think she'll be perfect for this project, or she'll be perfect for that promotion. That's really how it went down, because I was openly telling people, I didn't keep it close to my heart. It wasn't a secret. I wanted people to help me, and I came in with a very transparent ask. It wasn't like, oh, I think I want to do this. No, hey, I want to be where you are one day. I want to, when you get promoted, I want to be promoted, and I want to replace you.
Man,
how can I do this?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I love that your ask was very transparent. I say a lot of times, we as anyone, guys do it, women do it, everyone, when you don't feel sure in yourself and you're asking for something, it comes across. So don't ever use emotional words like, I think, I believe, I feel.
Yeah, no.
I deserve this promotion because over the past year at my current company, I've done X, Y, and Z. Write it out, look them in the eyes, smile with confidence. And I always say, like, what you say is really important, of course, but just as important is how you say it. And so anyone on the call or listening, I know we all would like to, do more, be better, give back more. It's not easy, but just prepare, make a brag book. Even if it's one sheet of 5 things that I know everyone on this call did something for their company or their family or their friends. If you're a stay-at-home mom, like, you've done a litany of things that are unbelievable. So have those embedded in your being, because that's who you are, and that's what you need when you ask for that question.
That's so good, man, because that's really your stock in your trade when you're in corporate, right? Like, and as the year goes on, you forget some of the amazing things that you've done.
I'll be 38 in 2 months, and I just learned everything I just said in the past year and a half. Like, when I was not in corporate anymore, like, all this wisdom has come from my entrepreneurial world, and I did not have this in corporate America. Like, I was super blessed that my last job, my boss was incredible. Yeah, incredible. And I could talk to him like we're talking right now. I wasn't always that lucky, and I wish I had the confidence, or I wish I heard a podcast or someone just say, get that brag book together, so when you go to your boss and ask for a seat at the table or to be on the project, or not even be on the project, when you want to lead your own project, like, it's not about being part of someone else's. If you want to do your own, that you have that list and that confidence behind it. And I always say it's probably good when you do have that conversation with your boss or your partner or whomever, practice on someone first. You know, someone's going to be super honest, like, yeah, that's always good for sure.
Totally.
So obviously you light up every room. You're always so positive. You know, your smile's just beautiful. You and Camille are just wonderful souls. We know life's not always easy, and we all have challenges based on a million things: where we're from, how we sound, what we look like, who we love, our religion, etc. Tell us of a time where you felt rejected or, you know, not really accepted because of any one of those, how you felt and what you did with that emotion.
That's such a good question, because I think we need to ask more of that question, right? It's very vivid and very clear. And it came right when I was about to get to the next rung on the ladder. And my leader at the time, who had been a mentor, and then one of my leaders, and he had been a sponsor, he was truly invested in my in my career. He came to me and said, "Hey, I gotta give you some feedback." And I'm thinking, okay, let's go. Because my belief is feedback is a gift. It's up to us to unwrap it or not. And then sometimes, you know, you take what you need and then you let the rest of it go, boop, boop. But this particular feedback shocked me, because I was still toying. I was still in the closet at work. You know, he knew, and some of my close friends at work knew, but I wasn't necessarily open as I am today in corporate, because I had told the story to myself that once I'm only going to get to a particular rung on the ladder, they're surely not going to promote. It's hard enough I'm a woman, and then you want to throw in that I'm a black woman, and then now you want to add that you happen to be a lesbian. Oh God, Kalia, what are you doing here? You're going to commit career suicide. And so the feedback he gave me was that I was a business specialist type of banker, and I was going for sales leader. So I basically would have been, I was a district manager that oversaw all the salespeople for a particular territory. And the feedback that he got was, she's got the skill, but we need for her dress code to be more professional. And so when he told me that, I leaned back and I said, well, what's more professional than a suit? I was wearing a suit every single day with a press button shirt. Not like, you know, I put it in a washing machine, I dried it, and I tried to iron it. No, like I was spending money back then. That was an investment, because I wasn't making a lot of money to send clothes, for one, to have a suit, multiple suits, and then send them to the dry cleaner. That was outside of me. But what he told me was, what I got from that was it wasn't feminine enough. My suits weren't feminine enough. My dress code wasn't feminine enough. And that left some people a bit uncomfortable. And in that moment, I quickly realized that I have two options here. I can continue as I am, as I'm still struggling to transition into bringing my whole self everywhere, not just to work. Because I legit, Meg, last year I posted a video and I showed my closet, and I had two sections of my closet. One was with feminine clothes, these manufactured labels, right? And then the other one was like my androgynous clothes, which I was 100% comfortable in. And then one day I woke up and I decided I'm going to gift to a Harvey victim this entire side of my closet.
Which side?
That feminine side.
Yeah, the feminine, yeah. Yeah.
No longer serves me. That's just not who I am. And they have been sitting there. I haven't worn those clothes for years. But it was something that in the back of my head was like, well, I might have to put some of this stuff on just to get what I want. And then that morning I woke up, I was like, screw them. If they don't want me as I am, I don't want them either. So that was probably one of those pivotal times in my life, in my career, where I had to make a really hard line in the sand to say, to work, I'm bringing my whole self everywhere.
Yeah. So you took basically your feminine clothes and donated them to Harvey victims?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's just everyone listening, that's just touches the surface of what she does for her community. Actually, since you just brought up a video, I have showed this video to many people. KG posted last December something she does in honor of her mother that I'd like her to share out in Beaumont. That is literally, I mean, it is it is something we can all do. It's easy to do, but the give back and just the feeling you provide for people is unbelievable. So tell everyone about what I'm talking about out in Beaumont, Texas.
Well, it's Port Arthur, so
Port Arthur.
Very close. Very close. Golden Triangle. Folks from the Golden Triangle realize it's pretty much the same thing. But Port Arthur, it was born and raised. It's the town that groomed me. I have an infinite amount of love for Port Arthur. And so after Harvey, some of my friends who now live in Houston, we all loaded up box trucks, 18-wheelers, loaded up with supplies because I couldn't get online anymore in Houston and hear how people were being turned away and rejected who wanted to donate to certain shelters because, I mean, we were good in Houston, right? Yeah. That wasn't the case for Port Arthur. And so I had family down there and friends who still were like, I had to walk through waist-high water just to go back home to eat because the shelter I was in didn't have any food or water. And I said, that's it. And so we loaded up the trucks, went out there and took care of them. But when I was there, Harvey was what, in August, September? When I was there, I realized that Port Arthur is not going to recover as quickly as Houston is because Houston is just a bigger city. They had more resources. And at that moment, my friends who went down there as well, I said, hey, would you be open to donating to and partnering with Walmart? I'll set everything up and we could pay off some layways for these families. Well, long story short, on my birthday, I went on Facebook and I said, I challenged 38 friends to donate $38. And in one day, we raised almost $2,000 just on Facebook. And then with our additional partnerships, we raised $6,000 and we paid off 77 families' layways. And that was just last year. We did it again this year. So total, in 2 years, we raised $12,000 and paid off nearly 120 families' layways in 2 years.
Man, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's hard work, man. It's what keeps the heart pumping.
It is. It is. And like, you know, and just by you even telling that story, I mean, it's not that difficult to do. I find that, you know, people want to help. Like we are, you know, people are basically good people and they want to help. But it always, or sometimes they need someone to tell them what to do or just give them an avenue or an option. So that you put it on Facebook and now people just start donating because we all want to do the right thing and give. So
totally.
Anyone on the call listening or, you know, just, that's a great idea. Just put something on Facebook or, you know, your social media and, you know, put it in a, you know how to write it, but don't be like, yo, give me money. But, you know, it's got to be for something that people that are really in need. Don't get those new, you know, what are the Yeezy sneakers? Like, you know, it's got to be for money for you know, people in need. But no, thank you for sharing it. It's a beautiful story. And I was really like touched and inspired. And I'm like, just when I thought this girl couldn't get any more magical, boom, I see LinkedIn.
So this is the person that's featured in Forbes.
Okay, whatever. Thank you.
That's magic.
This is all about you, Boo Thang. All right. Here's another question. So a lot of people that I guess hang out with now, or in my community, are either in corporate America and trying to do their own thing, or they're maybe a stay-at-home mom and they want to start doing their own thing. But whatever it is, they're not happy what they're doing. Period. So you transitioned from C-level last year in April to, you know, the world of entrepreneurship. And we all make mistakes. We all think we know what we should try to be doing. What is like one or two time wasters or time suckers that you spent a lot of time on last year transitioning? And, you know, hindsight 2020, like, man, I probably shouldn't have spent that much time on that because the return on investment wasn't there.
Listen, two things. Chasing perfection and not excellence. I wasted a lot of time chasing perfection. I'm in my head, it was like, because I was rewarded for that in corporate, right? But I realized that I had to shift my mindset is that an MVP, a minimum viable product, is all you need to get a proof of concept. You don't need to have, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to have all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. You just need to chase excellence and not perfection. Because when we chase perfection, we waste a lot of time trying to make it perfect. And then you look up and you realize, golly, I probably could have just launched this thing with what I had. And the second piece was trying to force partnerships and relationships that weren't going to materialize. So I believe that one of my differentiators is that my fortune is in the follow-up. Like, I will follow up with you now is 3 times. But before last year, I mean, I was spending a lot of time just following up to where I quickly realized there's no alignment here. And if there is down the road, they'll reach out, I could reach back. But I mean, the biggest piece of that is just chasing perfection and chasing relationships where there wasn't necessarily any synergy or alignment.
So when I first started, look, gosh, probably 3 years ago, I was in a female entrepreneurship group, 12-week program, and called Alice. It was Circular Board back then. And they said, and I remember, you know, we're type A people. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
And she said, launch your product when it's 80% to perfect. And I remember, like, literally, actually, my palms are still getting sweaty 3 years later.
Yeah.
I'm like, 80%, but that's not 100%. I can't launch with a less than. I still struggle with that. But it's true. I mean, I look at all these other companies that have launched. Their product is great. Is it their end-all, be-all, perfect product? No, that's impossible.
No.
Honestly, the only way you'll ever create or even come close to, no such thing as perfect, but to come close to creating a perfect product is when you launch it and you get customer feedback, whether it's speaking gigs, whether it's a tangible product, whether it's a service. You need the feedback from your consumers in order to tweak the product. So what you might think is 80% great, it actually might only be 60%, but it actually might be 95%, but you don't know until you get it out there and you get that feedback. Yeah.
I mean, that's the power of A/B testing, right? And proof of concept. So I'm launching that bar, like I'm curating a proof of concept because I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to waste time having to go back because this is what I think will work for the masses and consumers. No, I want the masses and the consumers to tell me what's going to work for them, and then I can develop and tweak what I'm putting together.
Yeah. No, she's a total sales entrepreneur, folks. You also mentioned the second time waster was basically trying to maybe not force relationships, but what types of people were you reaching out to during that time that you think you maybe spent too much time? Like, who were you looking to partner with or, you know, or get feedback? Who were these people? I don't need names and social security numbers. I just want to know what they were going to do for you.
So it was like, it was my avatar for speaking, because that's the catalyst of everything that I'm doing, right? That's what's going to, so my speaking engagements has replaced my corporate paycheck, right? So, and all my other business concepts will be born out of speaking engagements. So now the speaking is going to finance the rest of this other stuff. And so I was reaching out to folks to speak, right? To someone I knew who sat on the board for TED Talks, because that's on the bucket list, right? I wanted to do a TED Talk. And, you know, initially we met and everything was great. And I'm like, okay, great. Here's what I'm thinking. Tell me what you think. And then silence. And then I said, okay, well, I got connected to a speakers bureau, and I thought, oh, this is fabulous, because now I don't have to spend, you know, hours and hours researching and looking for my own. I don't have to do this anymore, right? And then I had a meeting. We had a good swap of emails, and then everything just went silent. It just like went silent. And so that I believe that's the universe way. The universe, my source, God, he, she, whatever people believe in, that was their way of saying, not now. You need to be focusing your attention on something else. So when I let that go, I was able just to do my speaking engagements, and I shifted to get feedback from the people in the audience instead of going out. You know, like I will dream up some big, hairy, audacious goals in a heartbeat, but I couldn't. I mean, they're so hairy. So hairy. I've
never heard that as an adjective for a big goal.
Yeah, oh yeah, because you know when it's hairy, it's not necessarily pretty.
Yeah, right.
and so I just shifted my thinking to, instead of going out here to get feedback from the people who are like the high level of us, I could just ask the people in my audience for feedback and develop a survey and get it from there. And that has been so helpful because I get it instantly.
Yeah, and you never know who's in that audience and who knows who. So since we're on the topic and people are on the call, what types of, you know, you never know who knows someone or someone needs a speaker. What types of audiences or companies or groups do you thrive in speaking to?
I thrive speaking, of course, in financial services because I speak the lingo. I thrive with tech because what I'm uncovering is tech. Although diversity and inclusion has been a thing for the past decade, they're just now starting to peek their head out of the sand and be like, oh, what is this about?
Yeah, right.
Kind of like Groundhog's Day. Yeah. So tech, and I would even say like wholesale mass production. Like created my vision board and I put all the logos of companies that I want to be, not just speak at, I want to be on their main stage in 2019, right? I don't want to be in a conference room and nothing's wrong with that. I did that last year. So now, next, you want to get better every year. I want to be on the main stage.
And there's multiple logos, I'm assuming you said?
Oh man, like Nike, Google, Uber. I mean, I'm going for it.
No, girl, and you're gonna get there. Like you're gonna get there sooner than you even project. This is so exciting. So I can talk to you honestly for about 1,000 years. Let's keep it real. We'll be doing a follow-up after you talk on the Google national stage, actually worldwide stage, whatever, for sure. I always like to ask the question because I'll be 38 in a couple months. And I never really had an answer to this question until my dad passed away, and I was kind of forced to think about it. And the question is very simple, and I believe that if we all take time to just take a second and really think about the answer, then the rest of your life is, I'm not going to say easy by any means, but decisions are easier to make because they're either your decision is in line with the legacy you want to leave or it's not. So the question is, what is the legacy you want to leave?
Oh my God, it's such a powerful question, right? And you're right. Like I thought about it. I was like, I have been curating this, like I've been thinking about it, but it looks different in different phases of my life. And so for me in this moment right now, it looks like partnerships that I develop with people like you, with people who are all across the country, who are out here really making a social impact for our community, for our world. My legacy will make me smile when I'm like 90 years old, hopefully still walking around, have all my teeth and doing my thing and driving, is that our
have
kids.
All my teeth.
That's important.
It is. You got a nice frill.
What will make me excited to see our kids, our unborn kids, our kids that are here, to be able to continue our legacy based on the partnerships that we're developing today. Like, I think that would be like really, really dope. But the other piece of that is the programs that I'm curating and cultivating for communities all across the world is to see them really, truly impact and shift the way that we interact as humans, right? Like, my whole thing is to inspire human to human connection. That's it. I'm not out to change people's moral compass or what they believe in, but I do believe that if you're a Christian, you can be best friends with an atheist. Camille's best friend is an atheist and she's a Christian. And we love her to pieces, right? And one of my really good friends at work, like, is an avid Donald Trump supporter. I wasn't, but it's cool because we love each other as human beings. So I think, what I'm out to do and what I'm out to seek for my legacy is in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 years from now is somebody from my lineage or my genealogy or people who were impacted by these programs could say, I'm this way because some lady, they don't even have to remember who I am. That's not important. What's important is that it has changed the way generational curses died. And what was birthed out of that was generational wealth. Not the type of wealth that jingles in your pocket or folds in your pocket. The type of wealth that we could pass on for generations to come to be some really dope, amazing human beings. That's it.
Girl. No, boom, mic drop. Yeah, that was incredible. And there's not a doubt in my mind that will be just one of many of your incredible legacies, for the world to come. I mean, just in such a short period of time, what you've done, not only for the Houston community, but just, anyone who follows you or knows you, just community in general. And you inspire everybody. And, you inspire more people than you will ever know. I mean, my husband knows who you are. I mean, Amanda, Amanda, we love you. Like,
love me some Amanda.
You're going to be somewhere. Like, we're like, oh, Jamie's going to be there. It's like there's just certain people when they walk in the room, you just want to scream, and you're one of those people. So,
oh my God,
thank you. And I wanted to leave. I know I asked the final question, but anything you want to share as we kind of close off in a few minutes? Anything you want to impart your wisdom? Anything you want. The floor is yours, sister.
I mean, I've been seeing some comments there, so I'll go back.
You can't see those. Okay, good.
I'll respond back. I think my friend E is on as well. But I think for me, it's just it's for us to realize that we can root for each other, even if we're in the same industry. We can all root for each other and wish each other literally from our hearts, like really mean it. And it's okay. Like I'm rooting for you because I want you to win so bad because I know and I believe in the vision of what you're out to do. And I think if we can shift our thinking to that, like there's no such a thing as this little slice of pie and only one person can get it. I mean, there's a whole pie out there called the world. Yeah. And it's a big enough slice for everybody to have as much as they want. And we can partner, we can connect, we can collaborate, we can make each other better. Totally.
Oh, man. Well, oh, no, you're still there. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Kalia. This has just been, obviously, what a way to start out January. You're my first official ever interviewee. I'm the interviewer, yes. And, you know, your inner dopeness, you just exude dopeness. I don't ever use that word in my vernacular, but I don't seem as cool when I say it, but that's all right.
You are, but the thing is, with your accent and when you say it, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Like dope.
Say it again. Say it again.
Dope. Dopeness.
Yeah, it's like you got your whole mouth put to the side. Like, oh man, that's gangster.
I even like lean back a little bit when I said it. Oh God, there we go. There we go. Girl, thank you so much for your time. You're such a blessing, you know, light of joy, and I know